Hello my dears, this is Sarah from SheHoldsDearly.com, and today I'm going to take you on a little tour of our new porch makeover that we just did. This actually wasn't on my calendar to post, but I was decluttering the back porch and I decided to do more than that. So here we go. There's 3 porches on our house, and we call this the kitchen porch. It is off the kitchen and it has the view of the garden. And I've lived here 10 years. I have done nothing with this porch at all. It just has been too much for me. But in the back of my head, I knew one day we would tear off this porch and rebuild it. What we had on here was a dilapidated old table that I got for free that was falling apart, covered with a bunch of junk and gardening supplies. And this place was just kind of a catch-all for anything gross that the kids wanted to throw on it. And we swept it once in a while, but there was no actual thought or love put into the design of it. So I knew I wanted to declutter it and just clean it up. And as I got into it, I was totally getting all the ideas, wanting to run to the store, wanting to make this place a cozy little spot where you could sit with a friend and, have your quiet time in the morning. And so this is what I came up with. I thought it would be helpful to break this into 6 different steps for giving your porch a quick refresh. It's not that hard once we break it down. So the first thing I suggest is clearing the porch and getting everything just perfectly spotless and clean, decluttering. I love the KonMori method where you hold the item in your hand and you decide, does it spark joy or not? And then you move from there, and you don't keep things that do not bring joy into your life. I use this method as a foundational principle in my behind the scenes group, and if you're not in that group and you're interested, it is my private group that I teach interior design in. We meet once a week. There's a wait list below. We open in September to the public. So if you're interested in joining us, you can sign up there. I always start the group with decluttering. So I'm gonna start you guys with decluttering as well. You're gonna wanna sort through everything and get down to the bare bones of what it is that you actually love. I actually kept nothing except for the wood pile over here. Everything else I put away or I threw away, except for this old table that I still want to refinish. I'm going to talk about that at the end, and I want your ideas because it's such a cool piece and I know I could do something cool with it. As I was decluttering the items, my husband was pressure washing to get the moths off the porch. We went and got touch-up paint. We're touching up spots on the house. Or the posts holding up the porch needed to be repainted, so we did that. It's kind of the time to just touch up and clean up. Okay, so that's number 1. Number 2, I suggest putting in some cozy seating. So I pulled my 2 IKEA wicker chairs up here, and I've had that look on my Pinterest board for a long time, specifically for this porch. And so it was fun to actually get it done. So they fit nicely. I did keep this table. I kept the firewood, the birch wood from a tree that we chopped down, and I kept this little end table that I inherited, but was just gross. I'll talk about that in a second. So between the chairs, I have a little table so you can just sit with your cup of coffee or whatever. So that's the next step, is to put your big pieces in place, and I do suggest a cozy spot to sit. All right, number 3 is gonna be to bring on the paint. I already talked about the touch-up paint on the house and the posts on the porch. I also decided it was a good time to paint the front door. I used Artissimo. It's a milk paint from Miss Mustard Seed's paint line, and it matches our front door. So I did that, and then I put a clear coat of wax and dark coat over that, and so I feel like the front of the house looks nicer. It coordinates with both the doors matching. So I got that done, and then I decided to actually remove the paint off of this little table. I really debated whether I just needed to throw it in the fire pit because it was so nasty. I ended up using citrus strip, and let me just show you what it looked like after 15 minutes of the citrus strip. I had it all bubbling up and I could scrape it off. That wasn't the end of it though. We put a few more hours of work into this little table, but I really love it. The top, come to find out, the very top is actually veneer, and so it doesn't look quite as nice as I would like, but the rest of it is raw wood, and now that I've stripped it down, and I just think it's beautiful. I love the details of it. I do want to give you a quick lesson on how to strip paint off of furniture. I continue to improve my methods. So this, of course, was, I told you, citrus strip is what I love. It smells fantastic. It takes 15 minutes to start working, and you can just start scraping it off with a scraper tool. Then for the rounded edges and the detail pieces, I like to get steel wool wet and scrub that down. And I wear a surgical glove when I do that, just because you can get slivers from the steel wool. So we did that, and then added on citrus strip as needed. So a couple hours of that. So once you get down to the bare wood, if you still feel like it's pretty gross, like mine was, because it has been outside for probably 10 years, it had like black in the wood grains. I'm thinking it was mildew or something at this point. So I love to use a product called Deckscape. It's called Deckscapes on the bottle that I'm showing you in here. But when you go to buy it at Sherwin-Williams, it's called Super Deck, and you just put that straight on your wood, and it kills everything, and it pulls up the color, and it cleans it so great. It's for cleaning decks before you refinish them. It's a great product. Then I just rinse that off with water. I just use my hose real quick and let that air dry really well. And I just felt for rough spots and went ahead and smoothed it down with 220 grit sandpaper. And finally, the last step was to add a product called Tough Coat. This is a product that I love for sealing furniture that is kind of high traffic. And if you're gonna have it out on a porch, I'd say that I would classify that as high traffic. I love that it doesn't change the color at all. It has a matte finish. I used a different product on my church pew recently, and I feel like it gave it a tiny bit of a peach hue, which is okay, but I would rather have no color change at all. So this is what I used on this table. It's called Tough Coat Sealer. It's clear, it dries matte, and it is by Miss Mustard Seed from her Milk Paint line, which is now owned by someone else, but still available. So I've filed through a bunch of my art pieces and settled on my little sign that says Fresh Cut Flowers. I couldn't decide on a bigger piece to go with it, so I decided to use a couple of old vintage tennis rackets that I paid $1 each. You can find these at yard sales really easily. And so I put those up there. I thought it felt kind of summery and sweet that there was two of them, like two friends. All right, so now we're moving on to the details. My fifth suggestion is to bring in glass or gold, something gold or metallic, or something black, just to bring in some kind of surprising accent pieces and elements. And if you're wanting to add in more interest, think about what kind of decorations you could use that are antiques. So I had an old basket that I filled with some faux tulips, and I put those on the door. I felt like that kind of brought in a more cottage feel to it. I have a clock out here because I have been sitting out here with a friend in the morning, and we get talking and then forget what time it is. So I thought a little clock would be cute, kind of a fun surprise. And then for the glass, I suggest getting a citronella candle because we have issues with yellow jackets coming over here. So I got this at Walmart. I think it was $4 or something. It was less than $5. You can get these cute little citronella candles. I probably will pick up a few more of these to put around on my other porches. Apparently citronella is not good to be breathing, so you don't want to have them inside. I found that out when I posted on Instagram that I had them inside, and people were like, no, don't do that. So I'm passing that on to you. Citronella candles are for outside only. Okay, and my sixth and final suggestion is, you guessed it, bring on some plants. Okay, so I'm okay with faux plants, as you probably know. I focus more on my garden than on actually taking care of things on the porch. So I have a tin pail up on this table with some white peonies. They're faux. I got these at Joann's, and then some olive branches with little black olives on them to match the clock. And then another bucket down on the porch that has some faux ferns in them. So I really like to have my plants at different levels. And it would be cute to do hanging baskets. That would be cute. You'd have that level you're dealing with. I like to find my tin pails either at feed stores or you can thrift them. That's kind of fun if you can find them. Antique stores and things, but you can also find them at feed stores. And I found these two particular ones. I really liked the detail on the sides and the wooden handles. These are from Michael's. So there you have it. There's 6 ideas, and I want to show you the table that I pulled off the porch and ended up, like, of course not reusing, but I want to show it to you. Okay, this is the table. I still really like it. I may cut off the part on the left on the leg is broken. I may cut both sides off. But I love the pedestals, and I feel like I could just take the top off and rebuild it, and maybe even paint it to make it look like concrete and use it as a patio table. Tell me what you think. What would you do? Let me know in the comments. So I hope you got some really good ideas there, and I have a source guide. It's a farmhouse source guide. It's several pages long, a little ebook with all my favorite places to source different decorations. So I'll put that in the link below for you if you're interested in that. So thank you so much for stopping by and getting to just sit on my farmhouse porch with me. And if you're new here, I hope you consider hitting that subscribe button so I can share more DIY design advice with you, and I throw in some vintage farm life as well. All right, take care, and I will talk to you soon.